This video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the animated series relevant to what has already occurred on the Netflix show.
That's interesting. I didn't even know that. Hello, everyone. I'm Jen.
I'm Max.
And I'm Bill, also known as Matt Stagger, and welcome to What the Adaptation. We take a look at things that were created in one form and have been adapted into another, and we're doing something a little different now. We're doing animation to live action with The Last Airbender, and joining us, we have Crystal and Thom from Dragonmount. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
Hello,
By the way, they are doing a watch-along on Monday nights. What time?
9 p.m.
9
Eastern.
p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern.
There's different time zones. I don't know
What?
if people are aware of that.
Yeah, we're all
I
over
forget
the
all
place.
time. I always forget all the time.
But on that note, my first question having to do with the Netflix show is, put aside the adaptation part, did episode 1 entertain you? Was it entertaining?
Who should go first?
You, because I don't think you've seen the cartoon, have you?
No, I have. I've seen the first
Sorry,
two episodes.
The animated show. I
Yes.
know people get upset when you call it a cartoon. Sorry. I call it a cartoon with my kids.
No,
The
no,
animated
I've seen the first two. Yes. So in order to make sure that I was able to adapt correctly, I was able to watch both. So
Good.
yeah, yes. So I've been told, however, that I need to see up through. I think that's another conversation, but I need to see a little bit more. But yeah, the answer is yes. I'll leave it simple and then hand it to the next person.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in. I thought just from a visual standpoint, I was entertained. It was beautiful, and even if I knew nothing about Avatar, I think I would have continued to watch just because it was so visually stunning.
Yeah. For me, the bending specifically was really cool. And the fact that they added in that flashback with the earthbender stealing the information or whatever from the Fire Lord about the attack, so you got to see some firebending and some earthbending right there. I think that was really cool. The fact that they just put that right in the first 2 minutes was really cool.
Yeah,
And it was really well done too, the actual choreographing of the fighting.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Strictly as a television show, I was entertained. My wife has never watched any of it and watched it with me, and she's like, okay, where's episode 2? Let's go. So that's when I knew, okay, they're doing something right. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Max, what about you?
Same. I mean, first episode was honestly just pretty good, I thought. It was nothing I didn't dislike for first episode. It was caught your eye.
Mm-hmm.
All around. They had spectacular effects, and you had a lot of stuff with Aang going Avatar mode a couple times this episode.
Excellent. Out of the casting, do you think they sort of the people we've met so far, do you think they've nailed it? Do you think there's anywhere just sort of meh?
Okay, so this is kind of interesting. It's strange, but I was really kind of bugged by one of the casting choices, and it wasn't the actor and it wasn't the acting or even the direction. It was that he looks like another actor and he reminded me. So it was who played Sokka. It is the guy from, oh my gosh, Gilmore Girls and Supernatural. Jared Padalecki. He kind of looks like
Supernatural. So
okay.
And
from Gilmore Girls though, when he was in when he was I could see that. I see that.
I was obsessed with Gilmore Girls, and so the whole time that just kept, I was like, it just kept bothering me. I thought he was great. I thought he really did a good job at capturing some of the mannerisms of Sokka, but I was just like, he looks like Jared Padalecki. I can't.
I am not going to be able to unsee that.
Yo, I'm never going to be able to unsee that now. I'm never going to be able to
unsee it. I'm like, oh man, she's right.
Joe,
I never watched that show.
Dean. His name was Dean in Gilmore.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, for me, I think the casting was spot on. There were some awkward moments with Aang in particular, but have you talked to a 9-year-old? They are awkward.
Yeah.
So
sir.
Air Bison. That was one of my favorite moments in the first
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Like, Air Bison. And then he comes and he's like, Air Bison. Yeah.
Just saying it again doesn't make it make sense. And then he lands Air Bison.
I thought the casting of who plays the girl waterbender, the lady.
Katara.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her name.
Yes.
It's in my head.
So
Kaya Wintio. Kaya Wintio.
Tio,
And-
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she was indigenous or not, but the only thing that I wished in the live action casting, if they would have like a girl that was like a POC, I was like, okay, you're a bit whiter than I saw from the cartoon. There was like a definite drastic like difference there. So I wish there was more like authentic like representation.
I'm
Is she
85% sure she's Inuit. Like she's
okay?
Yes.
That would
like-
make me feel a lot better because I was
Yeah.
like, I hope that wasn't a victim of that kind of casting.
No,
So if
I'm
that's,
like-
I was wrong.
she's at least part like like her mother or father or full. I'm not sure. I'm 85% sure that she's Inuit.
Good.
She
Then that
she
makes me
is.
feel better.
Okay.
She
there you
is.
go.
She was featured on the Inuit Inclusive
Regarding,
podcast.
but
Good.
So yeah, she definitely has, you know.
That-
Um,
that's-
I retract my
that's who the-
statement. Then
yeah,
that's very good.
That's who the waterbenders are based on, essentially.
Right.
And so I can't put my finger on it, but I don't love the casting of Zuko. And I don't know if it's just because I love Zuko
Really?
so much in the cartoon. He's not, I don't know. He's not it for me, or he didn't capture it for me as much.
I'm
Maybe
not
it's
a fan that they took away his lisp. Like
hmm
I
Yeah.
like not that I like that he has a lisp, but like it added to his character, and like it also kind of gave him like it. No one said anything about it. They like I feel like if that show was made in the early 2000s and it was like not a kid show, people would have made fun of it. Like people that don't like him, like maybe even that like the Avatar, like the Avatar group would have made fun of him.
hmm
But since it was, you know, a little bit more, it was a way more progressive show than anything that was out at the time. Like they
Right.
just dealing with all the stuff they deal with in the animated series. They, you know, it's never used against him in any way, and it's just part of who he is. And I don't know, I just liked that, you know, that part of his character in the animated series.
I think
have
he's
to-
sufficiently pulling off the sort of d-bag that he is at the beginning of the series.
Okay.
He is annoying. He is so hyper focused that he is an idiot, and you know, honestly, that is coming across from the character. So for me, that worked out great. I will be interested to see if he can follow the arc. That'll be interesting to me. Can he make me love him now that I kind of don't like him? If he can pull that off, then spot on. He's my questionable. He's on my questionable list of I haven't made up my mind whether it's great casting. It's good casting. I don't know if it's great yet. I'll let you know.
I mean,
For me-
especially when you think the source material is a cartoon, I think the casting was pretty phenomenal.
yeah.
You know, based on what they had to work with. He was just the one that I was like, I don't feel you as that character, but like I said, he's probably one of my favorites from the animated series, so that could just be my bias.
Zuko
You're-
could have been the main character. Like if he had
Yeah.
a few more minutes of screen time and he was in every episode, his storyline is almost arguably better than Aang's.
right.
I think you're right. His redemption is so it's very Vegeta. I don't know if anybody watches Dragon Ball Z or has watched Dragon Ball Z, but it's
I mean-
very Vegeta.
Way back in the day. Ooh,
Look,
Oliver's
he's-
here. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Oliver's ears? Thanks for joining us. For me, the spot on casting was Uncle Iroh. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you just Paul's Sun Hyung Lee. Sun Hyung Lee.
Sung Hyung Lee, yeah.
Yes,
Like,
just
don't get me wrong. I love that dude. Like, he's so good.
No.
Yeah, I totally agree. No. I love him in Kim's Convenience. He's had a reoccurring role in Mandalorian. He plays an X-wing pilot, and
Yes.
he's great. But no one is gonna beat Mako for me. The original voice actor for
Yeah.
for Uncle.
Yeah, I mean that's apples and oranges. You can't.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Actually, on kind of the same vein that you were kind of talking about, Jen, this obviously isn't like appropriating culture or anything like that. But one of the things that I felt was a little weird is that everyone has American accents. Like no one has different accents. Like in the cartoon, people have a wide range of accents because they come from all over the world, which makes sense. I'm not saying they all have to have stereotypical Asian accents or anything like that.
Right.
But just the fact that they come from different parts of the world, like, and it's a large planet, like they should have varying accents at the very least is like.
For me, I honestly, because the whole lore is that everybody got along equally and they were actually visiting each other and everything. There was such cross-pollination. I could see there being a common sort of accent at first, but 100 years of the Fire Nation separating them, I think there should be dialect differences. So
yeah, I mean, like even if people visit each other a lot, I felt like that was probably. I mean, the Avatar obviously did, but like the general, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of like people in the Fire Nation and the Earth Nation, water and the air nomads, but not anymore because sad.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I'm sure some of them didn't get around. Maybe the air nomads did because they're nomads and they can fly.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Touching on Oliver said there is like maybe they're just trying to get away from the trope of bad accents regarding that culture.
I mean, Daniel Day Kim and Paul Lee, they both have had accents in other TV shows, and they're like, I mean, again, they're also both 90% of the people in the movie are Asian, are of Asian descent, either Chinese, Korean. So like,
there is a thing in Hollywood where like casting directors will like force a bad accent on people.
Oh yeah, so
and that is a huge thing. Yeah, so it's like they could have been trying to get away from that stigma.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just felt
it's hard to say.
I was taken aback a little bit when like I was like Uncle Iroh. He just doesn't sound like a wizened like older man. Like I don't know. He just like he just sounds like a dude.
But he kept going about his tea.
He did.
Every scene is always up with the tea.
I like the dude attitude. It's kind of a way of getting it across in a quicker, more visual medium, I think.
Hey, listen. The only pushback I'll give to anybody who, when critiquing the live action show, is that you don't need to quicken anything. Like they have almost the entirety of season 1 and book 1 of the animated series versus season 1 of the live action show is almost the same amount of screen time. Because yes, there are 19 episodes in the animated show, but they're 22 minutes long.
Yeah, we did the math at one point in minutes, and it's literally, I mean, there's almost no difference at all.
Yeah, so it's already a visual medium. It's not like you have to adapt a page.
Oh, yes and no. It's kind of hard to adapt animation, which is,
of course.
So, I think they're going for an audience that isn't familiar.
Yeah,
they're going for an audience that is not familiar with Avatar. So that's what I think they were attempting to do. But I do agree with you that they don't need to speed anything up. In fact, they added some stuff that I wish we could have seen in the original animated series.
Also,
like the attack on the air temple was amazing. So it was stunning to see. But I don't think kids would be ready for that.
Not to I guess it's not a spoiler for the cartoon because they did it in the live action. So like the sequence of events that we see things in the animated show versus how we saw it in the live action show are different. So like, that flashback scene of the attack on the air temple doesn't happen. Like we don't see it or really know exactly what happened until like episode 13 of season 1. And I like the fact that they did it earlier because especially for an older audience, like it immediately draws you into like what's going on.
I just think the choreography of the entire fight sequence and the bending itself and that whole sequence was outstanding.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was just so well done, and it's kind of a relief. Nobody was calling Aang, by a different name, like that other movie we will not
I don't know what you're
discuss.
talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. There isn't another
Thank
movie.
you. If
That
I hear
never happened.
Aang one more time, I'm going to punch myself. So,
Never happened.
Duly
I
noted.
kind of want to test this.
I'll let you do, Max. Do you feel episode 1 captured the right feel and tone of Avatar: The Last Airbender when compared to the animated series?
Yes.
I would say yes and no.
I think so.
I mean, I think the theme, to me, especially if we're talking just about this first episode, was really
Yeah.
like responsibility and duty, like what,
Mhm.
And so yes, I feel like it did a pretty good job of that. I felt like this show was a lot heavier. It wouldn't have been as relatable to the same audience as the original show, but I think it did a really good job of setting up kind of the theme of the series.
One of the things I feel like it lost and that I don't like that they changed from, and not that it's a change, I just feel like it's a loss for the character, and it paints him in a different light. Like Aang ran away from the fight, whereas Aang in the cartoon or the animated series, he left because he didn't want he didn't want to be taken away from Gyatso.
Right.
Like he left because they were like, we're going to split you two up, and Aang is going to go to another temple and you're going to stay here. And that's why he left. Where this time he was running away from having to save the world or whatever. And it's a different dynamic.
Was he running away or was he just taking some time? Like, I don't know. I don't think.
Well,
He is running
given
away.
the dialogue, I think he's taking his time because he says to Appa, I think it's time to go back. He said, let's just go up where things are a little clearer and they make sense. So I don't think he was necessarily running away. But I loved in the animated series that his solution to not being taken away from his friend is to run away from his friend, because that is logic only a child would come up with.
He's definitely 12 years old.
Right. you feel that in the animated series. So yeah, I can agree with you there.
I saw a thing. It's kind of like another thing that annoyed me a little bit about the live action, and I keep shitting on it, but I did enjoy the live action show a lot. Like I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I really liked it, but
things can annoy you, but you can still enjoy it. So
I
fun.
saw an interview with the actor that played Sokka, Katara, and Aang, and his name's Gordon Cormier or something like that. He was 12.
So, yes.
Like he was actually 12 years old when they filmed it. And first off, I want to say his normal demeanor, like his just him when he was in the interview, is Aang. It is Aang.
That's
from
cool.
the animated series.
That's cool.
So, which kind of makes me like, why didn't you let this kid just be himself when he was playing Aang? Because like, I personally, Aang was a little too stoic for me.
Yeah.
And like another again, it's something that I feel like is a loss, which really added depth to Aang's character in the animated series, was the fact that the audience is reminded constantly that this is a child that is being thrust into these situations and having to make these decisions. Where Aang in the live action show feels a lot more developmentally like advanced than the other Aang. But one of the things he mentioned was his baby teeth were still falling out, like the actors. So he had to make they had to make dentures for him to wear.
Really?
For his missing baby teeth.
That's funny.
That's cool.
So like on the casting question earlier, I was gonna mention like for like Aang, like looks wise, I felt like they nailed him. But like demeanor wise, like animated series, like I always felt he was like kind of annoying.
Yep.
And they didn't nail it in the show. He wasn't annoying enough.
So
Yeah,
he was
I
annoying,
definitely
and now
liked
you're
him.
mad he wasn't annoying.
Exactly.
Yep.
He was annoying in a good way though. Like he made you think of like a little brother, or like a younger cousin or whatever you want to look at. Like it wasn't like annoying, like get away from me. It was annoying, like
and like, that's where was it Zaka or not Zaka? I have horrible names today.
Sokka? Sokka?
Yeah.
The guy?
Not Sokka, the Fire Nation guy.
Zuko.
Zuko.
Yeah,
sorry,
Zuko.
like that bad names.
Just remember Greece, Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
I feel like they nailed his looks and his demeanor. But whether they keep that up in the rest of the season, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I just hope they don't do emo Zuko.
Oh, come on, they have to. They have to with the swoop.
Oh, God.
That would be funny.
I can't do that. All I'd like to do is but it doesn't really.
How you doing? I'm gonna go stare at the abyss.
Speaking of Zuko and episode 1, one of the things I really liked with him specifically was when they showed his room. Like,
oh God.
No. I loved the way they did it because it was like they tried. Yeah, so there you go. They tried to make it look like he's investigating the Avatar, but what that really looked like was like a kid and his favorite wrestler, or like a kid and his favorite singer.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like he had like good. He literally had like action figures and drawings and
He was he was a Swiftie for sure, for absolutely sure.
Yeah, I did find it funny. He had a book just full of Avatar information.
Yeah,
he literally like he was.
This is my worst enemy. Like, it's like, is it? Is it though? No, yeah.
Okay, moving on from there.
He's a fan.
Are any changes that you liked or any you absolutely do not like so far as episode 1 goes? We'll get into the deep weeds later because there's.
I guess I kind of said that. I liked the changing of the order of like when they tell you about the air temple and stuff like that. So I liked that. They also set the in that same thing. They set we didn't find out the main quest of Sozin's Comet right away either, and they do that in the live action show too. So they give you something to like be kind of like just over your head like throughout the whole thing, where we didn't learn about that until I don't even remember the solstice episode, probably like halfway through the first season at least.
I was gonna say Aang just botting Zuka in the ship in the animated show is missing from the live action. He just like flipped him back and forth several times.
I think that would have taken away from him being a credible threat. I think in live action,
even in the animated, he comes right back up. He like pops up.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in live action.
I
I'm okay with
like
them
how
skipping
they begin the opening with the air temple and everything like that, where you feel a sense of loss when Aang wakes up, because in the cartoon you're not like, oh, it's been 100 years, and you don't get the same feeling of loss when the episode first opens as you do looking at the two just side by side. Also, very odd minor detail. Not because I watched the live action first and then I watched the cartoon. So it's kind of a backwards for me, I guess, compared to how most people like ingested. But I like how he describes the staff in the cartoon better, because when he just is trying to grab his staff, you haven't seen the fact that it can do the wind thing yet, but he describes that in the cartoon inside the village, that this is how he used to fly. So it was kind of, I guess they're trying to do a shock value, is that he can open up and all of a sudden fly off of the ship with the staff, and that's what he needs to propel himself. But at the same time, like, I like the little I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to show you what my staff could do in the cartoon first. For me, that was interesting. I don't know why. Stuff like that. Yeah, but anyway, that was a very minor detail that I liked better in the cartoon.
I think for me, the actual opening sequence was just
of course,
genius, setting up how they have these false documents. They're allowing this guy to get away without allowing him to get away.
That's
I just love that. I thought it was brilliant. It shows there's a lot more going into this than just the Fire Nation's strength. There is strategy. There is, a wartime sort of mindset already happening within the Fire Nation. And I love that setup that they set it up immediately.
Well, yeah, I think you're more invested in the enemy early. I think the start of the animated series, you're much more invested in the characters, and the enemy kind of comes in. Right now, they tell you from the get-go, this is who your enemy is. They did a really good job of making me hate them right in the first few minutes. So I really like
absolutely.
It'll give them a tougher time to try to do any kind of a redemption arc later on.
Or it'll make that a redemption arc all the much better because
I meant like not tougher, but it'll be more rewarding when they do it. Like it'll feel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, honestly, it seems like a bigger hill to climb for Zuko now than it was even in the animated, and it was a big hill in the animated series. So, but I feel it's a little bigger.
There's two things in this first episode that I might be getting a little too into the weeds with the magic system of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We're used to Glenn. Pedantic is everything. So go ahead.
Okay. So there's a couple of things right in the first episode that I'm like, what the fuck? So like, while being very minimalistic, spoilery, like Aang, like airbenders can't just fly like without any kind of assistance, and Aang and a couple other airbenders are just kind of like, they're not flying, but they're gliding and using air to move around without a glider, like in that first opening scene. Yeah. And that is not a thing that happens. And in fact, way in the future, like that's the epitome of airbending, is being able to do anything even remotely close to that without some sort of assistance.
I have that literally written down on my notes.
Excellent.
What?
And then the other one is,
I didn't know that.
Usually the airbenders need to be able to see the fire, and like they can't manipulate fire. Specifically the scene where there's a firebrand, I think it might be Lord Sozin, when they touch somebody and they burn somebody from the inside. Yeah. He burns the guy from the inside out. And that's just, it could just because it's Sozin, there's a lot of things that could go into that. It's just like, it creates I'm fine with you if you change the magic system. It's just, if you are going to set rules for this world's magic system, as long as you abide by those rules, I'm fine with that. But it just sets a different expectation and a different level of bending than existed in the other thing. So again, though, if they follow those same rules and like they are consistent with it, I would be more okay with it. It's just, it's a little weird, especially the flying thing with that.
For me, the firebending part,
but he was hundreds of feet. He was
going spire to spire, and he was floating in between. So he was flying. Like Aang jumps on little balls of air and rides them around and stuff like that, but he doesn't ever fly ever. Yeah, as far as the firebending part, I chalk that up to the comet being present. It's the equivalent of blood bending, only it's blood boiling. Is basically how I
don't know what you're talking about, Bill. Mr. We're not supposed to spoil things. What's that? Sorry.
Yeah. That little question mark went up over my head, but I'm like duly noting this. I'm like, okay, something to look forward to for future episodes.
Didn't think before I said that one, but
no, it's fine.
You get my point.
I don't know what
you still don't know what it is. It's
yes.
just a word.
So exactly. It's a word right now. That's all I know.
It'll be a surprise when it comes up.
Yes.
Cool
yes.
Reverse
You're
PLT.
Fine.
Falling with style. That's what Aang was doing.
Yes.
Falling with style.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I found it funny because later in the episode, once his kite thing got hit, his staff, he just was falling through the air, and I'm like, wait, if he could fall earlier, then why isn't he pushing himself up?
That's a good question.
So I'm with you on that one. I thought that was a little weird.
The little inconsistencies that
I have to watch that beginning scene again. Maybe they have like those updraft things going there.
I don't know.
Like a ring, just a circle of air coming up where your horse can jump up and down.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway. All right.
It's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop at the end.
Yes, that's true.
True. As far as it being an adaptation, the first episode, did you think it was a good adaptation, an okay adaptation, or we got some work to do here sort of adaptation?
I
know that's a hard one.
I would say okay.
Yeah.
If I used your scale,
Yeah.
I would say okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind these are all opinion based. We're all allowed
Yeah,
an
of course,
opinion.
yeah.
Nobody's getting yelled at. We're not those
Oh,
kind
hell
of
no.
people.
The only thing I yell at people for is gatekeeping. I don't like gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
It's so soon. It's so soon. Like I've only seen just a little bit right now, so it's hard for me to really make that determined
Jen-
of an opinion, right now. So
Jen, where are you in the animated series? How much have you seen?
2 episodes
Yeah, so
and
you're-
1
wow,
live
okay,
action.
yeah.
So
Oh my god,
I
it
don't
gets so good.
I don't
You haven't even seen as much screen time with the animated series as you had the live action series yet.
That is correct. Yes, that's true.
So
Okay,
Wow.
I'm excited for you. I'm
Okay.
excited
Me too.
for
I
you.
can't wait for
And I
you to
think
see
it's-
more.
Are you gonna watch episode 2 of the live action before you watch any more animated, or what is
I
your...
have today. I have been told that I need to watch up, and we can all have a circle meeting on this if this is true or not. Like up to episode 4 or 6 of season 2 and the live action before, like, I don't know if that's true or not. By the end of the week, essentially, before we come back and meet again for
Well, not
the
necessarily,
next
but-
episode of the live action, or so. I'm like, I think I have a little bit of homework to do, so I need to catch
Well,
up.
just to
this week,
cover the
essentially.
full season of the live action.
There's only
the
one.
full
There's only
season.
one season of the live action so
Yeah.
far. So
Okay.
Just to
Okay.
cover the full season of live action, I think that would cover
Yeah.
for the animated.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue what I did this past weekend. Is I'm going to watch the live action first. I know I think it's kind of most
No, I think
people
you
don't do
should.
it that
It's
way, but I
interesting.
think that's kind of interesting.
I'll
And then
enjoy that perspective. So
I'm
yes.
going to watch the animated series as far as I'm feeling like we're catching up to it, and then I'll stop. So it just so happened that for this
Interesting.
week, the first 2 episodes of the cartoon or anime or you know what I mean, line up with the live action almost perfectly to the end. It syncs amazingly. So I was able to have no weird lapses or anything like that. It was good for today.
I will be so curious if you end up with an affinity for the live action because you saw that first, or how you end up feeling about it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Me too. I'm curious to see how this goes. Like I said, I love that
it's going to
perspective.
be a
so.
unique perspective, and it's always good to have unique perspectives and things like this.
And I only suggested binge the animated after watching an episode of the live, because after a couple episodes, it's gonna start getting a little more in the weeds.
Yeah, there's going to
where
be
they
a
start shifting things
differentiation.
around.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's good, bordering on okay. There are some things that I'm like, yeah, it could definitely be shifted around. But I got to tell you, the costuming, the special effects,
So good.
the sets, the props are just top notch. They absolutely are on par with most of the animated series, and it's immediately recognizable. You see that Fire Nation ship, that is a Fire Nation ship immediately. So that, I think they're on the right track. I think they're finding their feet.
Speaking of feet, I didn't count the Sky Bison legs.
I think he has 6 legs.
6.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
has 6.
and even says, Brown Arrow, 6 legs, flies through the air,
Yeah.
Sky
Yeah.
Bison.
Yeah.
Habits. Wow.
That is
Okay.
fair enough.
I'd actually put this as for a first episode, first episode, good adaptation. Because it was like Jen said, immediately they were, I thought, pretty 1-to-1. Obviously, they switched around some stuff here and there, but if I were to compare Witcher or Rings of Power,
We don't discuss it.
yeah, it's they 1-to-1 is not even questionable. Nothing's going on similar on those, and there are some things that are motivation wise, like Aang and him fleeing the air temple's different. Some minor things are different motivation wise, but a lot of it's very 1-to-1 recognizable.
Yeah.
And I believe that as the show goes on, we're gonna find some motivations are gonna shift.
I mean, that Avatar state was impressive. That whole sequence, the grief, him falling directly to his knees, that was heartrending. you know,
I
just like
liked
the
his
animated series.
mentor. I don't know if he has a more screen time in the animated series, but his mentor, I was like, "You'll
Some
always be my
flashbacks.
friend." I was like,
Oh, God.
Oh, Gyatso, yeah,
Yeah, there's flashbacks.
yeah. There's a bunch of
Hello?
flashbacks with him, but again, they don't happen till later.
I like him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's great.
I like him.
But I
He is-
mean, you know.
actually, I would say he's probably better in the animated series, only because of it's animated, so they can play him up a lot more.
Yeah, I was like, I like him. He's nice.
He's very like elder kung fu movie theater master
Yeah.
Mhm.
character.
Dude, did you see his eyebrows? They were going everywhere. I loved it. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
those are amazing
the-
eyebrows. The
Well,
live
that's
action.
the makeup was incredible. Especially as we
all
get
of it.
farther into the
Yeah.
season, like even next week's episode, so good,
Mm.
so good.
Did you notice the veining in Zuko's scar? I mean, there's
Mhm.
actual veining in it that looks amazing up close, and that's hard to do up close.
Mhm.
All of the practical effects, and
Yeah.
I would say even the special effects were great. I have absolutely throughout the whole thing, I have absolutely no complaints on any of it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, agreed, 100%. Any themes that stood out to you in episode 1? I know you had already mentioned Crystal, responsibility, things
Yeah,
like
duty.
that,
Mhm.
duty.
Loss.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah,
that's
like
what
Jen,
that
Jen
was
said
the
it before, and that was perfect.
Yeah.
Like the sense of loss is really, really, really more evident right off the go.
Mhm.
Mm.
I think change too. I mean, Aang's entire world has changed since he's been asleep. Katara and Sokka, like everything, even just in that first episode, is changing for absolutely everyone.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that moment where Katara actually says to Sokka, "We can't go home; we'll endanger everyone," is a little heartbreaking. It is because, I know she probably wants to go home and see her Gran, because
Mhm.
Gran is awesome. I do love the
Yeah.
fact that she brought up everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Oh,
Mhm.
I was so happy somebody said it.
Mhm.
Speaking of Fire Nation, we got duty and obsession.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say reincarnation, and like time passing, and I know we're all Wheel of Time fans, so that was kind of good to see. And yet another thing of like, yay, we love that the theme. So the big shock moment for me was I did not anticipate the fact that Aang would be in that ice ball for 100 years. Like I didn't know anything about it when he woke up. I was like, okay, he's gonna fall and then he's gonna like burst open and have been 100 years. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I did not anticipate that. So just passage of time, the fact that there have always been avatars, and then that they follow, I guess, the system, so it's going to be air, and then I forget the sequential order of exactly which bender goes next, but that sort of thing was kind of an interesting for a child, especially like something that was meant towards kind of a kid show, at least at the beginning anyway. I thought that was kind of deep, so I appreciated that a lot. I was like, okay, I'm shocked by this. Let's go. This is kind of a good theory. It adds to it.
It's air, fire, earth, water.
Earth, water.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Or fire, air, earth, water. Sorry. The I looked at. I have a tattoo of it on my leg, so I looked at my leg real quick. I was like,
cool.
I don't remember either.
Yeah,
Show it off. Show it off. We got to see it. We got to see it.
Can you get the camera angle?
I'll get. I have a picture. I'll get you a picture. I am not that flexible. Maybe when I was.
Come on,
10 years
Tom,
younger.
hike it up.
I cannot do
Like,
it.
come on, Tom, stand on your head. What's wrong with you?
I'll send you. I'll send Bill. I'll send you a picture on, or Max. I'll send you a picture on Discord.
Either one. We're good. But yeah, I mean, overall, I got to say I enjoyed the first episode. There's little moments that make me laugh. Like when Aang did come out of the frozen ball, you're like, oh, here comes, question, speech or something like that. And he just slides down like a freaking penguin on his belly. Little things like that made me laugh. Him waking up and immediately running around with the other kids. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Those little moments that sort of call back and remind you of the animated series a little bit, because like I said, I have such a link to it from watching it with both my kids. that, you
Aang
know,
beginning.
it's very beloved to me. So to sort of, yeah, I want to make sure they do it right. And so far, I can say I am pretty happy.
Good.
Nobody's going to be 100% happy, but I'm pretty happy with where we're at. And this episode in particular, I think they did an excellent job.
So on that, like on the ice ball and him leaving the ice ball, one of the and it would have been interesting, I think, like, so here's a perfect example of it. So Jen, you went into the show like not really knowing anything. So like you even said,
Nothing.
like, oh, when I found out he was in that ball for 100 years, like
I was like, what?
So when we're watching that, though, we already know Aang is the Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the live action show, like they've like, even if we didn't see the animated show, they've told us that he's the Avatar already. Where in the and they know too, Sokka and Katara both know. Where in the animated show, the audience and the entire water tribe, none of them knew he was the Avatar until Zuko came to the village and was like, "Give me the Avatar," and Aang is like, "It's me," and like everyone's like, "What the fuck?" So
yeah, that was a little bit different. Yeah, I like pretty much how they're doing it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Is not what I.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying the execution. Like I said, I think the bending in particular, the fire bending looks amazing. The earth bending looks great, and I cannot wait for my favorite character ever. So sorry, my sort of second name gives away a character you'll meet later, Jen. Sorry.
Toph? Am I saying that correctly? Toph?
Toph.
Toph.
That's fine.
Oh, is it Toph? My apologies.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
It's
Anyway,
actually pronounced the Melon Lord, but the earthbending is specifically even just in that opening scene, like
that was cool.
Yeah, and it's also very like advanced earthbending. Like it's not just simple lifting up rocks out of the ground and like bullshit. Like it's pretty cool earthbending, like shooting the little needles of rock and like pushing. Like it was very well done. And I immediately I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be awesome. Yeah. And then I got a little disappointed for a little while, but then overall I liked it.
Okay, quick question. The bird horses that the earthbenders had, I cannot remember. They're chocobos. I keep calling them chocobos. I'm like, what do they call them in the series? Do they ever say? I don't remember, but they're chocobos.
They are so chocobos.
They're ostrich horses.
Is that what they call them? Okay, I couldn't remember what they call them, and I'm like, they're chocobos.
They're ostrich horses. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is pretty much a chocobo.
So seriously, as soon as I saw it,
fantasy reference, I'm like, yes.
I told you my wife never watched any of these, and she immediately went, "Holy shit, chocobos! I didn't know they had chocobos." They pretty much have chocobos.
They even look like the chocobos from the Final Fantasy MMO game, like that came out.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they look exactly like those.
Yeah.
I'm
waiting for the fat one to come up now. If anyone plays,
there's got to be one somewhere, right?
Yes.
So for this is not a spoiler or anything, but Jen, for your thing, there are no normal. Well, there are very few normal animals in Avatar. They're all some weird combination of animals.
I noticed
and
that.
they're
I'm looking
amazing.
at the penguins with like the four things. I was like, is this like a thing? Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because it brought me tangentially on something else I wanted to bring up. I didn't know where they were, so maybe they say it later in the live action, but they didn't say where they were. They were just like in some glacier Iceland. But in the animated series, they specifically say they're in the South Pole and that there are benders in the North Pole and that sort of thing. So one thing I did feel I can actually say that I would have liked in the live action, because I haven't had like a negative yet toward the live action, but now I can say this. I like the fact No, but
We'll share. Don't worry.
I like the fact that you have like, okay, it's kind of, is it Earth-based world? Because I don't know if this is good. Is it an extraterrestrial world? Is it Earth? I don't know where we're at as Avatar is coming into this as a new person. So in the animated series, they're like South Pole. I'm like thinking, okay, this is planet Earth. And we're in some alternate timeline of Earth. Okay, so that's cool. So having that grounded, especially because I'm sorry, I forget who someone mentioned, and I'm gonna give appropriate saying that the live action is for people that don't know anything about Avatar. I believe that's correct. Whoever said that earlier, and that would have helped at least stabilize me into, okay, we are in planet Earth and this is the South Pole. Just a little one-off line would have really helped.
They kind of leaned a little too heavily into expecting anyone who watches this show is going to have seen Avatar.
Yeah.
They did give it a name though. They gave that, so they named the village that they were in like Wolf something or other village.
Wolf Cove,
right?
yes.
Yeah, Sokka did as he came out to confront Zuko.
Yeah. It's just the village, by the way, or village, like, oh, our village that we grew up in. Like, they never name it or anything like that.
I feel like the animated show has a map on it at one point.
There may have been.
I do have your tattoo on here, finally.
Okay.
Awesome! And color, too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's, I've been wanting a tattoo with no black outlining for a long time, so.
There you go.
Nice.
Took way too long to get that on here.
That's actually, if anyone's in New York, that's my cousin's tattoo shop. It's a oh shit, what the fuck is it called? Skeleton Key Tattoos. It's a great shop, and she's an awesome artist.
Yeah, looks good. That's true. Lots of planets do have a south, and I think I was going to mention that, but I got rid of that. But
yeah, I mean,
I thought more. Yeah,
poles are cold. Like that's usually what happens. But the lack of geographical positioning does not make it makes for like a less impactful like idea of when they travel, because you don't really get an idea of the distances they're traveling in episode 1 to episode 2 of the live action, at least. Whereas in the animated show, you do.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely get a better sense of scale as far as travel and distance.
Yeah. Oh man, forget. I don't want to go into episode 2 or 3 of the live action, but
I know it's hard.
Oh, we will next week. Don't worry.
All right.
Episode 3 is so good. Like it's really, really good.
Speaking of that, I have on here listed that this show, the creator is Albert Kim for the Netflix show.
Oh, the Netflix show. Okay.
Yep. And that the writers, Michael Goy, the director is Michael Goy. He did The Rookie, Big Sky, and 2021's Kung Fu, as well as Riverdale, American Horror Story, and Empire.
Now, speaking of Star Wars stuff, we were talking about this backstage before we began. But imagine my shock and surprise when I saw who directed the cartoon series for the first season. I'm like, Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, now you know why that show is so good.
I was like, Dave Filoni did this? I look at Chris, I was like, we know who that is. So yeah, that was definitely a very well recognizable name in our household that I was definitely shocked and appreciative. I was like, oh my god, I had no clue. So that was kind of cool.
I also have that this episode has 3 writers.
Oh, sorry.
Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Knizico and Albert Kim. Michael and Brian are the original writers of Last Avatar, and they're on every episode of the Netflix series.
Yeah, so I had lost a little bit of optimism for I lost all of my optimism for the show when the show was still in development. They announced that they were leaving the show. The 2 original creators of the Avatar animated series left the show. They were originally credited with writing, executive producing, and showrunner titles. And they left due to creative differences with Netflix executives.
Oh.
So I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna suck.
I think they have writing credits on the one that shall be not named either. So
Yeah. I'm sure. So I'm sure they probably, you know, like the way it works often is like, you know, depending on how much they worked on before they left, you know, if they could have written entire scripts, or even if they just did like edits and stuff like that, they'll get writer credit. But
and the other writer is Albert Kim, and they're known for Sleepy Hollow, Nikita, Leverage, and Pantheon.
Nikita. Oh, okay. That's
the new one, not the old one.
Yeah. Not La
like the series or the movie?
TV series.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
2010's Nikita.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I enjoyed Sleepy Hollow. A lot of people didn't like it.
I like
that. Is the TV series Sleepy Hollow, not the movie.
Yeah. I liked the TV series too.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
The crossover with Bones, that was good.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that.
That crossover was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Brennan, for people who have watched Bones, Brennan is in an episode. Bones herself. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah.
The guy that played what the fuck's his name?
Ichabod. It's interesting when you do look at
like my brain was going Ebenezer. That's not his name. Shut up.
When you look at the credits, you do see some interesting synergy between like the writers and the directors of like what shows they've worked on together.
Right.
And similar to some of the cast.
Yep. Dante is so Rufio from Hook. You know, he did Zuko. He voiced some characters in. He was also in Surf Ninjas. It's just the worst movie ever, but it was fantastic. Anyway,
yeah, but it's awful in a good way.
Oh yeah. One of Rob Schneider's first movies too.
Oh god, so bad.
Who knew he was going to turn into a psychopath? Anyway, it's surprising, like just talking about writers and like directors working together on stuff. Like if you go and try to look up what else DiMartino and D&D, that's what they call the two dudes. The two original writers and creators of Avatar the Animated Series. They've done nothing else almost. It's all just been Avatar. That's pretty much all they've done.
Oh,
and like they're such good writers. Like I just want to see them do more.
Oh, I can agree. The writing on the animated series is so amazing. It is one of those
the best writing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, seriously, it is. It's amazing. I can't wait, Jen, for you to finish the first full season of the animated series so we can talk about it, because you are I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I love listening to new people's feelings on it. Like it's the same thing I get with like Wheel of Time. Like I love introducing new people to Wheel of Time. And I love like getting to introduce Crystal to Avatar and then seeing how much she loved it. Also, one of our guests on the Monday show, she had never watched Avatar, and she had done another show with us, and I was like, "Oh, hey, we're getting ready to do Avatar." She's like, "Oh, I never seen it. I'll watch it. I don't really like anime." I'm like, "Don't worry." And she's like, I haven't watched cartoons in years. I'm like, "Just watch it." Now she's also in love with it too.
Love that.
Very good.
That's always great. I want to thank you guys for coming on and remind everybody they do have a watch along going on. I think you're currently on season 3.
Book 3, sorry.
Oh, book 3, sorry. I said season. Book 3. On Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern.
This week our guest tomorrow is she's actually, if you've been to Jordan Con, she's been at Jordan Con, but also she's been to a ton of she's a professional cosplayer. Her name's Katie Redfield.
Oh yay.
I met her.
Yeah,
recently.
She's awesome. Huge Wheel of Time fan, like humongous Wheel of Time fan. She won the international cosplay circuit. Like it's one of the bigger tours that cosplay does. I think it was like a $50,000 prize too that she won.
Wow.
For cosplaying, she for those who are fans of Warhammer 40K, she has a 10-foot Space Marine costume that she built.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that. Yeah.
I think she was a guest one of the years that you were also there too. So I'm pretty sure. So. Yeah.
It's a long time ago, but yeah, probably.
She was there this year.
She also she themed the Space Marine it's Ben Franklin as a Space Marine.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like
she's
that.
pretty cool. I love her.
I think she was at JordanCon this year.
Yeah, you said that.
She
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, she was not there this year.
was it last year I met her then?
It was last year. Yeah, she was there last year.
You know what? Yeah, because she did make a comment about my Ashendari, which was the year before. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Wheel of Time nerds. Just
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone watching, and guys, thanks for being guests. I look forward to seeing you next week and tomorrow in your chat. So yeah, thank you, and have a good night. Don't forget to be awesome.
All right. Bye.